Evening, people, and welcome to a post-match reaction of the big final. Nobody does it quite like us, do they? This team, this manager, these kids have defied all the odds for one more time to mesmerize us with another Liverpoolian tale. This history, this Liverpool club etched in more history, these kids, and nobody does it like us, like I say. This is all a celebration of Jurgen Klopp's leadership, his genius, and once more, Liverpool have come up trumps. Nobody gave us a chance. We weren't supposed to win this. Nobody. We defied all odds, and this is a club about creating memories, and this memory will long live in our memories for many, many years. Jurgen Klopp called it the greatest memory, the most special memory of his tenure. And who the fuck am I to argue against our manager? And it was 4, now it's 3. And there's 3 of us today to discuss it all. Gene, I'm going to come to you. What a memory and what a historic day. This club is all about creating memories. And boy, did they yesterday.
What can you say, Asim? It was an unbelievable night. A night that will stay with us forever. And there'll be people that will come out and mention it being, it was only the Carabao Cup. But we all know, Liverpool fans know how special yesterday actually was. Honestly, Asim, I'm lost for words because the amount how you felt, and I tweeted something today about one of my proudest moments of being a Liverpool fan was at 0-0 in a Carling Cup final with a bunch of kids on the pitch. That's how proud I was when I heard Ale Ale Ale, the way it was reverberating around Wembley, man. It was a joy to be part of it and a joy to have been there and witnessed that. Especially to have been there with my son. It was his first final, and I just didn't want to lose because of him, because I know how emotional he gets when when they concede a goal, let alone lose a game. But it's something, Asim, that we're going to obviously discuss this in more detail. But honestly, I was absolutely buzzing. I spent the whole day. I gave the kid the day of school. I said, just chill out today. 12 in the morning, I sat in bed and I just went through all the content. And that is the best thing about about going to a game. You obviously you missed all the content, when you're there. But when you come back, you get in bed and you just go through all the videos, and seeing all the videos. You saw the celebrations of Darwin Núñez and Dominic Szoboszlai. They're not injured. They wanted to play. And it was just a joy to watch, honestly. And I'm just buzzing. That was the only way to
Gene, I thought you started this show or your little speech by saying you're lost for words. You're not for fucking lost for words.
when you start, in a game like that, honestly, it's just immense pride. And that's what it was, Asim, yesterday.
You mentioned Hadi. We had another traveling cop, a new addition. Welcome to the family, Hadi. What a day. And it was weird, like sort of experiencing it with a kid, but because you wanted it so much. You know how we feel like for Darwin Núñez in a different way. You want it for the kid, don't you? And you saw his face and all the little stories that Gene has told us. He showed that video to us, Avi, last week when Arsenal scored 3 and the little kid is breaking down. But I thought I've been to the gym.
His mother didn't make it any better, did she? She didn't make it any better, did she? But yeah,
I mean, I've been to the gym a few times with Gene, and he don't lift fuck all in the gym. But what he's good at is lifting his kid on his shoulders. So Gene's got pretty good shoulders. I never saw him in the gym, but I saw him yesterday. But Avi Mubarkan, yesterday people say
Khud Mubarkan.
we say Sat Mubarkan.
Oh, is it?
But I mean,
maybe I'm
that
mistaken
was
now.
a special day, and we should forget the fans, opposing fans, who are saying it's only, what do you call it, a League Cup. Who gives a shit if it's a League Cup? You have to look at the circumstances, and we had no right to win that cup on paper yesterday.
We didn't. All sort of stats come next morning, don't they? Oh, Chelsea had the younger squad technically, and all this bull BS. Klopp said it straight yesterday. He goes, opposition fans can call it what they want. Mickey Mouse, they're celebrating the Carabao Cup. Listen, any team yesterday, you'd love to have been in our position. Just like he said, you'd love to be in our position. The game for me was a early one. It was a 7 a.m. kickoff, but it was nice. I woke up at 6:30, brushed my teeth, First time in a long time.
I can tell. I can tell.
Got black coffee ready, sat upstairs. Upstairs we've got like a lounge area and watched it in front of the TV. Had Sky Sports coverage.
Do you get sent upstairs when you watch the game then?
No, because I've got the IPTV upstairs and I've got the proper American Sky here, but they don't, apart from ESPN Plus. So I watched it on Sky Sports because I wanted the Sky Sports commentary as well. So I watched it upstairs, and honestly, the emotions, but never for 1 second. And I was speaking to Gene on his way back yesterday because I woke his son up as well because he was knocked out. And
I heard.
I said, "How do you wake up? Wake up!" And then I wasn't nervous, but once he made those substitutions, which was James McConnell, Bobby Clark came on, Dans came on, I thought he's not throwing the game out. He's not throwing the game away here, Klopp. I know the players like Gakpo, McAllister, they will run to the ground, right? Made that swap. I thought he's just going to say, just go for it now, lads. Whatever happens from here on out, I'm proud of the boys. They gave us everything yesterday. Yesterday was, honestly, some people have said it, one of the greatest achievements in Klopp's career. I honestly think it was. The players that have been injured, the players that have come in, they've done a job. Yesterday, Konate goes off, and what a game he had. I know he was on a yellow, but Kwanzaa came in, and no word, no criticism, nothing. Seamlessly just came in. Bradley, against Chilwell, we saw that little fracas, and he was so mature about it. He stepped away, even though he got a yellow wrongfully from Chris Kavanagh, who was an absolute fucking idiot yesterday. I thought his performance as a referee was up there as one of the worst for a final. But Klopp epitomizes what this club is: passion, fight, aggression. Never gave up. These players never gave up. That iconic T-shirt that Salah wore at the 4-0 Barcelona, everything and so much more yesterday. The fans, you guys. I mean, I've got a nice sort of expensive speaker. And when LA was drumming out the speaker, I could hear it full volume. God knows how it felt. Must have been a few tears in the crowd when you lot were hearing that, because that's what it felt like. And Gene described it yesterday on the phone perfectly. It wasn't so much for we're just chanting for the sake of it. It was for the kids to say, "Listen, we're with you." And that was, for me, when Gina said that, I said, that's just an amazing feeling. Those youngsters knew that no matter what happens, Asim, win, lose or draw, the club is behind us. The fans are just roaring us on to do, and they're proud of what we're going to achieve here. And listen, lo and behold, 28th minute, what a header. It should have been 2-0. I did predict a 2-0. But, you got the first goal, which will come into, wrongly chalked off or correctly chalked off. But honestly, absolutely amazing. And one thing I do want to address, this idiot, bigot of a man. Stop this. We only won our Mickey Mouse Cup. The real thing is the league win. And then I will dance. Listen, you can't dance. I've seen the size of you. So just pipe down a little bit. We will celebrate this Mickey Mouse Cup. Don't you worry, son.
Gene, Avi mentioned that Ale. I think you have to start there, even though it came later on in the match. But it was a monumental stage, a monumental chant, and just like the admin on behind the stage, whether it's Waxy or Junior. They say.
And speaking of kids, sorry, Asim. Speaking of kids, and today's Rola show, like anyone can interrupt. I know Gene doesn't ever interrupt because he doesn't like hosting and whatnot, and disrupting anyone's flow. But speaking of kids, listen, big up to Sarib, by the way. His first final.
Oh yes,
I know it meant so much to him, and he's like Hadi is to Gina, Sarib is to me. I can be harsh on the little git, but honestly, I do have a lot of time for Sarib, and I know how much it meant for him yesterday. And he was
as long as you don't try to carry Sarib on your shoulders.
I probably could have seen Sarib. Apparently he's shorter than me, so I probably could carry him.
But you know what? I do regret it, and Jake mentioned it in the comments that we met all the lads at the start of the game, but at the end of the game, because we were sat all over the ground and we didn't get time to sort of hang around and talk about the game and celebrate together. But everyone, a lot of them flew from Newcastle, flew from, where was Jake going today? Morocco, America. Shahid was over with his family. And that's only the one regret that you have at the end of the game. But people have places to go.
Jake had the main course at Wembley. He's having dessert in Morocco. Great. Great stuff.
Doing that.
Avi, there's kids watching this, please. So let's go to that spine-tingling moment, Gene. You mentioned it on Twitter today, that it felt like the fans are saying, you know what, it doesn't matter what happens, we're with you. We've made peace with this team. We know exactly what you're going through. But no matter what happens today, that we're with you. And it was just, you could feel it.
Asim, it was mind-blowing. It really, really was. And, I've been lucky to have been to many, many games where the atmosphere has been amazing over the years. But, yes, yesterday it was different. And because, it's normally, it's about getting behind the boys in a different sense. This one was it was a show of appreciation. Whereas we were showing the players that were out there, that were out there, we're with you and we're going to go through this with you. Regardless, and Avi mentioned it, regardless of the result, we knew, they knew we were proud of them. And to hear the way it was, belted out was honestly, it was unbelievable. It really, really was. And I was, it was, for Avi mentioned it, it was really emotional because I was sat, I wasn't sat exactly behind the goal, Asim knows. I was sat because I was with my little one. I made sure I was slightly central. And there was a lot of old people around me, and you could just see in their eyes that they were so proud of what they were seeing and hearing at the same time. And, and honestly, it was that special that is probably up there. This final, in terms of winning, yes, people have mentioned that it's just the Carabao Cup. But in terms of final, it was probably one of the best I've ever witnessed. In terms of emotions, in terms of what we felt, I'm not gonna lie, I did feel towards 15 minutes towards the end of time, the games, 15 minutes in the actual 90 minutes, that we might lose this, because with loads of kids have come out. Chelsea was sort of in the ascendancy, but it was about getting to that 90 minutes. But once we got to that 90 minutes, and in the first half of extra time, the Liverpool fans saw that we're actually playing. These kids are actually good. They're actually gone out there and showed what they're about. And then it was a show of appreciation and pride that, they're with you. And honestly, I'm in awe of that Ale. And I think, and I mentioned it will stay with me for the rest of my life. That's how good it was.
You think when the chanting was happening, you think it was emotional? I think there's a little bit, it might have been more emotional. You lot will know better than me because I was watching it from the TV, but you lot were there firsthand. I think it was more emotional because that it's sort of Klopp's. Potentially could be his last final too, but because it was at Wembley, because Klopp's leaving, that the fans just wanted to go all out. And it was more of an appreciation for him too.
That as well. But I think the fans realized at that time that, they saw kid after kid coming onto the pitch, Avi. And normally when a kid comes on, it's in a cup final against Chelsea, you raise your eyebrows. But I think this encapsulated everything that's been going on and off the pitch at Liverpool in the last month or so, where Liverpool, are top of the league, but they are going through a massive, massive crisis injury. And what we're dealing with, Pep Linders said we're dealing with Salah and Nunez on a day-to-day basis. But Jurgen Klopp is probably dealing with Liverpool on a day-to-day basis as well, a match-to-match basis, I should say. And that's what's happening. And when the fans saw that, they said, you know what? These guys need us. These guys were playing under 21s a couple of days ago against I don't know who. And now all of a sudden they're playing on a Wembley pitch against a team that spent £1 billion on their team. And I think the fans realized, and this is those moments. We were talking about the Arteta moment. We were talking about the VAR moment at Luton in the second half. But this was the moment. And the players feel it. Doesn't matter how big the stadium is. Doesn't matter where the fans are. These fans could have been a few tube stations down the road, 2 miles down the road. They would have heard that Ale, Ale, Ale. And that's what transmits into the players. It's the energy, it's the courage, it's the trust. And this was Jurgen Klopp telling his players through the fans that, you know what, you've got my trust. And boy, did they repay it.
Avi, question for you. Obviously with Klopp, and the one thing that, with the, in terms of the Ale, you felt like, these kids are out there now, and Klopp's thrown a card at Chelsea saying, okay, you've seen all this. You're actually supposed to go and win this game now. Yeah. Because I felt as though if the game was there, if Chelsea were that good, they should have come out and gone and won the game. But what, in terms of your thoughts on what you thought Chelsea did at that time, hearing that, do you think it had an impact on Chelsea in terms of hearing that Ale, what's going on around them? They're supposedly were supposed to go and win the game. Did it have a massive effect on them?
I'll tell you if you don't mind, Ali. They shit their pants.
Yeah,
that's all.
The onus was on them, wasn't it? They put on Mudryk and Nkunku. Sterling had come off. Gallagher had come off. Who was on the left hand? Who was the other left hand side player that came off? was Gallagher and
Madueke?
Madueke came on as well. But in terms of the extra half, Gene, I don't think they had a plan. It was set up for them. Gary Neville said it straight. The game was set up for Chelsea to attack now. Go on then. Go and win it. And Klopp put the youngsters out and said, not inadvertently, but he said, bring it on. Just play your game. Look, I've put my youngsters, I've played all my cards now. I haven't got any superstar that I can bring on. I haven't got a Nunes. I haven't got a Salah. I haven't got a Trent to mix it up. I haven't got a Thiago. I haven't got so on and so forth, right? You've got your ace cards in Kunku. You've got Madueke, who's got a bit of pace about him. You know, you've got players that can change the game for the better. Mudryk, who can go direct against one-on-one against Tyrone Gomez. They I don't know what you call it, nerves. They just froze for a good 18 to 20 minutes. The last period of extra time, they literally froze, Gene. And I'm sure you lot have rewatched the game as well. They froze. They didn't know what to do. The likes of Disasi, they were all sort of like, oh, we don't know where to go. Caicedo, James McConnell came on. He was the veteran when he came on. He played as if he's played 250, 300 games. That's how of a mature performance he put in. Caicedo was nowhere to be seen. Their midfield was nowhere to be seen. They hid. They actually froze. And it happens. It happens to the best of players as well. We've seen it in World Cups. We've seen it on Champions League occasions. The best players froze. But listen, it comes back to, you can have all the bowling money you want. You can spend billions, literally millions, chuck millions every summer. If you haven't got a structure in place, if you haven't got the right coaches, if you haven't got the right mindset, your club will never be us. You'll never be like us.
You made a good point about they didn't have a plan. Do you think it was something to do with their plan from the start of the game? It was to attack, sort of counter us, and win loose balls in the right areas and go at us. And generally speaking, most of their good work was coming through the break. But when Jurgen Klopp, like Gene, sort of touches on, where he turned the sort of the sort of ball threw the ball into their court and said, you know what, you're meant to win this now. You're bringing in these guys who are millions of pounds. You spent a billion pounds in God knows how many months. But the onus is on you. The responsibility is on you. And it's a different pressure, isn't it? And Gary Neville called them bottle jobs. Blue bottle jobs. Exactly. But now the sort of, the what do you call it? The onus was on them. And this, you go out and tackle us and, sort of break us 2-3 times and win the game 2-0 and off you go. But it didn't happen. And I think you made a cracking point. The sort of likes of Bobby Clark, McConnell, even Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa came on. I thought, you know what, glad we've got some experience on the pitch now, even though he's played about 15 games. But that's how you didn't know how to laugh or cry, even at the end of the game when the players were doing their rounds around the pitch. Honestly, you feel it. You look at them, one's got a brace on, one's got a boot on, one's got walking with crutches, and you've just got mixed feelings. You literally look at the situation and you feel so much pride, amongst the players, but you can't stop laughing or crying with the situation that we're in a massive pickle. But it's just game by game. And you know what? We called it, we're going to do a mad one, but nobody thought this mad.
No one thought that this was the final to do a mad one. And Gary Neville said something that all opposition fans, all enemy lines would have thought yesterday. The 3 that came on yesterday for us, James McConnell, Jayden Danns, who's the other one? Bobby Clark. No one really knows who they are. No Arsenal fan really knows who they are. No United fans, no Man City fan, no Spurs fan know who they are. No Newcastle fans know who they are.
I mean, Liverpool fans didn't know who they are 6
weeks ago. 6 weeks ago. I'm an exception, but probably 6 weeks ago, But it's so strong. He goes, Kara, like literally, he put his headset off and he goes, and he said it out of the mic, obviously away from the mic. He goes, Kara, I don't know who's come on here for you lot. I don't know anyone. I know obviously Bobby Clark because Lee Clark's I played with him. He goes, he said it on today's Monday night show. He goes, I didn't know who they were. Whereas Chelsea, the Mudryks, we know Mudryk cost 75 million. Arsenal were courting him. We know about Nkunku because we liked him at Leipzig. We know of Madueke. He's been in the Dutch league. He's been at PSV and whatnot. But these kids, no one knew who they were. And it was as if Klopp said, you've got your billions. You've got your players off the bench. I trust what I've got in my locker. I trust my bench. Heck, we had Trey Nyoni, who's just signed from West Ham, a 16-year-old who probably gets his debut on Wednesday. Klopp said, listen, I trust my fellas. I believe in my fellas. And all that little speech, which I sort of not cussed Klopp at, but I said, I know it's tongue-in-cheek, but when he was doing some stadium tour and he said, oh, we got Wataru Hendo, who's Caicedo, Lavi, he laughed. And I said, I didn't like that because that's not usually Klopp. But you know what? That Wataru Hendo, 17 million pounds, 16 million, a 31-year-old, he showed up yesterday. And he's shown up every single game that he's played for us this season. Maybe took a month or so to get used to, but he showed that you can have all the millions. You can have a 200 million pound midfield. These when I include Lavia, a Enzo, a Caicedo, more than 200 million pounds.
300 million.
3 players that we would have loved. I know how much Gene loves Enzo. I love Caicedo. I love Lavia at Southampton. Asim, you're a big fan of all 3 Caicedo. We would have loved him at Liverpool. But yesterday, that Japanese midfielder, I love him so much that he just proved everyone that, listen, with the gum shield, all this, there were people that were mocking him. Yesterday, he gets a little challenge from Caicedo. Kept playing on. He laid it on the line, Asim.
I think what summed up the Endo story, Avi, is when the injury news came out and the picture came out, and all of the fan base, even though you were not in contact with them at that time, you felt the world, Liverpool fans were saying, oh, for fuck's sake, what now? Him. And that shows you the importance and his sort of development over the last 3-4 months at Liverpool. I've been critical of him. Look, we're here to provide an opinion when there's something that we don't see right, his progressive passing and this and that. But over the last month or two, especially yesterday, it's confidence, and it's getting to know your mates. And we just underestimate the fact that this guy's come and into the unknown. He came into when the whole hype, Gene, was all about we've missed out on Caicedo, a fake bid. We put in 105 million. What we're playing at, these owners flew over from America and stuff like that. But a bit about Chelsea, Gene, and beat the press makes a good point. Poch teams are known for their high press in the last 2/3. They're not normally known for the possession-based build-up. Endo was the key, both in possession and out of possession, an absolute masterclass, and no doubt it was. But Gene, I was shocked, and we were all hyping up that that we were going to go aggressive against Chelsea. We really did them. We outran them, outclassed them at Anfield with the 4-1 victory that night. I was shocked with the fact that you spend so much money, and Poch has to take responsibility with this, where they couldn't really play out our press. And when you've got players like Colwill, they've got Enzo Fernandez, these sort of players who are generally good on the ball, they couldn't beat our press and go play out. And if you're a team that just spent £1 billion, you expect much better, albeit they've sort of bought 1 million players and they're going to take a bit of time to settle. But bloody hell, for your team to come to a cup final against a massive depleted Liverpool side, to just play that type of football on the counter-attack, for me, that was piss poor.
It was piss poor. And another thing, Asim, you talk about the midfielders. I'll just give you an example of the fullback, Gusto. I saw him against Man City, and he looked really, really good. The guy couldn't even control the football yesterday. That just tells you.
First half.
3 times he let the ball go straight out of touch. I don't know what it was about him. He couldn't even control a ball. Is it on Poch that is it on Poch? They didn't play. But there's times where they couldn't. We at the first half, I thought we were brilliant in the first half. Yeah. We should have gone. I know that Gapco head. I know they had a chance as well. But I thought we deserved to go in at the break at 1-0. Because we played a lot better than they did, and there was a lot of because you looked at the starting lineup, you didn't see the likes of Salah, obviously all the players that didn't play. I'm not gonna lie, it worried me a little bit. It's only natural because you're thinking even we don't even have a bench.
Yeah.
But for Chelsea to have the players that they have, Asim, this struggle, especially with Caicedo in the 6. Me and you were speaking about it yesterday. It had to take Enzo. Because he likes to play Enzo further forward. He had to take Enzo to come and sit and receive the ball from the centre-backs and play as the deep line midfielder for him to be able to play 1 or 2 balls 3 or 4 times. Then they began to play. But that happened, Asim. A lot of that happened when we actually, that disallowed goal, that gave them a bit of a boost and they started playing slightly better. And with them, we made all them substitutions. but they really, really struggled. And you have to give Klopp a lot of credit. We
Yeah.
played full throttle football with the squad that we had. We stifled them in midfield. Endo, Asim, was just unbelievable. I have never seen. He didn't put a foot wrong yesterday. He was that good. And his positional play in terms of reading the ball, when wherever there's anticipation of where the ball's going to go next, he was there every single time. Every single time to loosen, to clean up. Caicedo, bang, he was in there. Chelsea felt yesterday the power of Endo in that midfield. And yes, there were times where, us as Liverpool fans, you mentioned it, we questioned him. But you know what? We thought we were getting a Caicedo. We all, deep down, we all wanted him. But boy, has this player come into this Liverpool side and proven what an amazing footballer he is, what an amazing mentality he possesses. And I mentioned a few days ago, a player like him in your squad is like a James Milner in that team, in the sense where the youngsters will look at him, watch him, and think, you know what? That is a person that you follow. He is a leader in that sense because he just goes on the pitch, does his job, and does it perfectly well. And over the last 2 months, honestly, I have to give him his flowers. And every Liverpool fan, we've seen it, how well we've spoken about Endo over the last month. There's not a Liverpool fan that does not show appreciation to the player like Endo, because he was simply irresistible yesterday.
Avi, just a shame that we don't have Mr. EDL, Sarib, coming on and talking, waxing lyrical about his favorite player this season. And it's just a shame that he's not here to talk about it. Avi, Gene mentioned the power of Endo. I thought Liverpool's also saw the power of their. I think Pep Linders mentioned it in a couple of weeks ago that, when you see these players and come and they play the same way, and he mentioned the word culture. And I think Liverpool saw the power of their culture, the power of their philosophy, the ideology, call it what you want. Because the beauty of someone, I thought when McConnell came on, we thought we had McAllister again. A fit McAllister. Calmness at that time from a kid to show that level of maturity was unbelievable. And, this is Liverpool kids, and this is what you get with Jurgen Klopp at your club for 8 years, where every single person at that club, even the bloody, I don't know, Irene from the kitchen, on a Tuesday night at a five-a-side football with her mates, she plays the Jurgen Klopp way as well, and so does all the kids. Because when you get this ideology, this philosophy, it kind of doesn't matter. It's all about the profile of players, and when you have that, you've always got a chance.
Yeah, and look, it comes back to the structure. It comes back to the coaches, all the backroom staff. They're all in a lineage, and most of them will be leaving. The likes of Kornmeyer, the likes of Linders, the likes of Vitor Matos. Alex Inglethorpe will stay as academy director. And those two have been pivotal men in the transition. And when he came from Spurs, I think Alex Inglethorpe came in and he said, "Listen, he's a mess right now." He even admitted it. He goes, "It's a mess at Liverpool Academy, at Melwood." He goes, "It's a mess. Don't expect anyone to come through in the first sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 years." We saw Trent. Trent was an exception, but now we're seeing an array of youngsters who may not go on to have Liverpool careers, but they'll go on to have a good footballing career. And listen, those kids yesterday, if they learn and they continue their trajectory, they will be Liverpool players. They will be Liverpool players. We've seen it with Bajicic this season. Last season he came through, and we know that when he gets finally fit and he stops growing as a person, with all the spurts that he's had, the growth spurt problem issue that he has, he will be a mainstay at Liverpool. It's a continuous job that Klopp's done, and listen, I don't blame him for finally being exhausted after 8 years. He himself said, "Listen, it's got too much. I don't want to leave. I just have to leave. I need a breather, whatever it may be." But this is back from the days, Asim, of Shankly and Paisley, man, the boot room. Where we were, the likes of Sammy Lee, they all were coming through the system. This is what we're trying to produce now. And if Klopp has started the legacy, God forbid the next manager that comes in, no names, but it'll be so easy for him. He's not going to leave us how Ferguson left Moyes, a depleted and aging squad, a squad that just had no more drive in them. He's leaving a squad that, even if they do the quad, God forbid we do the quadruple this season, right? He's leaving a squad that's hungry for more. They're going to go again and again and again. And the right appointment, that, although it's most crucial, which Liverpool manager incoming doesn't want that job? Which manager out there, highly rated manager, does not want that job? Back in the day, it used to be Liverpool's a poison chalice, that job.
Yeah.
But after Houllier went, because of the boardroom uproar, this and that, this guy has galvanized the football club. There's no talk of FSG out anymore. There's no talk of John Henry or FSG out, this and that, because they've all come in it together. And yes, there will always be owners that we have issues with. We'll always say, oh, they don't spend this, they don't spend that. But listen, we've shown you the exact operation to Chelsea. Chelsea will chuck billions. They're nowhere closer to the league title. Poch is nowhere closer to his vision of how he wants his Chelsea team to play, because the Spurs Poch team is a totally contrast to the Chelsea team that he's trying to implement and the style that he wants at Chelsea. They look lost. They look lost, and they've spent billions. They need to spend another 400-500 million. It looks as though Nicholas Jackson, I rate the player, but I don't think he's a natural goal scorer. Sterling's the wrong side of 30 in December. You know, they've brought the wrong players and they've got the wrong structure. Whereas us, we look at data, we look at analytics. Endo's the prime example of 16 million. It looks a bloody snip now, doesn't it? It looks an absolute snip.
Avi, I thought there was a poignant photograph I saw on Twitter flying around when Klopp shook hands with Bowley and his co-partner. And you could see, what's that cliche? A picture tells us 1,000 words.
1,000 words, yeah.
And that's what it was, wasn't it? Where these guys, even the photograph was screaming out that Bowley was there, screaming out, if only you wasn't taking a break, if only you were our club. Because this man, Gene, he doesn't have the football club at the palms of his hands. He has the city and the world, the global fan base at the palm of his hands, because whatever this guy does, it turns into gold. And we've still got 3 massive trophies to fight for. This isn't the end. This is just a taste.
Oh, 100%. And, you spoke about galvanizing the city, galvanizing the fans. When he came, he mentioned it, doubters to believers, and it's always been the phrase that's been used. And this is exactly what he's done. I don't want to make this show into an appreciation about Klopp, because I'm sure we're going to do plenty of it over the next few months. But be prepared for that ride, Asim, because this is going to be one hell of a ride over the next 3 or 4 months. And it will be emotional. It will be everything that we've that we all know how it's going to feel. I just hope and pray, Asim, that he delivers the big one before the end of the season. Because boy, if he delivers that big one, come May, it is going to be one sensational party. It's going to be one sensational, emotional Liverpool. And you know what? An emotional Premier League, because 90% of the Premier League fans out there, they actually understand, and they understand football, and they understand what Jurgen Klopp brings to the Premier League. There is not a team in world football that wouldn't want Jurgen Klopp as their manager. Maybe Man City will argue Pep Guardiola, but I'm guarantee you now, there's no football better than the football of Jurgen Klopp. The way he does things it's a different level. But it's. Oh, I don't know, man. Asim, just this man, Jurgen Klopp, man. I'm gonna miss the guy, but one thing that I will say is, and you guys have mentioned it, and Avi mentioned it brilliantly, is the next person that comes in, the guy can build a dynasty. That is what's possible with the players that we've got right now. We're still deep down. Do we all deep down know we could have signed a couple of more players, but we didn't. He's got youngsters coming through that are capable of carrying on this legacy that Jurgen Klopp's going to leave behind. And who better than to lead it than the player, like a manager like Xabi Alonso, come in, a person who's been there, done it, and tasted Liverpool, and this is the key, because to manage Liverpool Football Club, you have to understand its roots, you have to understand the city, the fans, the culture, everything about it. And Xabi Alonso is that man. But it would be the perfect handing over of the baton, and I'm confident, Asim, that we will deliver a lot more trophies. But what an amazing way to hand over the baton especially to somebody like Xabi Alonso.
I'm gonna keep that baton in the hands of Jurgen Klopp for the
I'm
next
not anything,
half an hour to 40 minutes.
All, man. Just
and I'm gonna bring it back to the game, because we can talk about Jurgen Klopp, we can talk about how much pride we have for the team. Well, let's bring it back to the game, Avi. I thought we started really well, and I think Shahid Bhai is in the building. Big up to him, and I hope is he back in Pakistan now?
He was flying out today, yeah.
I know today, yeah.
The only person in the world that I know that flies Concorde.
Avi, he says we were playing well, but that Gravenberg injury set us back Believe it or not, Avi, I've not watched the game back. I was busy today and I didn't have time to watch the game back. It's not like me. I like to watch it again. But Avi, we were playing well, but I think after 10 minutes or so, after groundwork went off, Chelsea came into it because it took us 10, 15 minutes to sort ourselves out.
Yeah, just the formation, wasn't it? Bradley goes right wing. And I think you called it a couple of weeks ago, Asim. You said that, he could be played further up. I think you saw him play everywhere against Brentford, and he thought he's got it in him to be versatile. Elliot drops back, who I'll give separate praise for. I think everyone knows my thoughts on Harvey Elliot at the beginning of the season, but it's changed a lot now. And yeah, it took us a while just to get back into our groove again. I thought the challenge was a bad one. It was a bad one. It wasn't a red. I think most would probably disagree. I don't think it was a red. I don't think the Curtis Jones one was a red either.
Avi, do you think
it was a dirty yellow?
Do you think Caicedo, it's all about refs knowing the players? Do you think he does this a lot, where he doesn't stop? Caicedo always follows through.
Yeah, he runs into you.
With all due respect, he was the same against Man City, Asim. He got away with it at Man City and he got away with it at Liverpool. That Avi, I know you'll
Is it straight red for you, Gene?
Look, Asim, when it first happened, you couldn't really tell. I come back, that's a bad challenge.
It's a stamp on the foot. It's a stamp on the foot.
It's probably maybe a harsh red, but it was still borderline red, man. It was, I was more peed off with the referee. How he didn't even give it as a foul. That is the thing that really got to me at the time when I saw it, is how can you not give that as a foul more than anything?
But my problem is here, right? Kavanagh went back to VAR and said, okay, look, was it a bad challenge? They reviewed the challenge, right? So obviously David Brooks or John Brooks, whoever it was at VAR, has said, it's not a red. It's a bad challenge, it's not red. Then it's a fucking yellow then. Why can't you give the yellow? And I know the rules are that you can't go back, but why can't you go back? That's why these idiots have had to bring in this sin bin option in the cup games next season. I don't know when that actually.
Come on.
No, but Asim, how are you telling me any different than these? These why it's being implemented, the sin bin.
Because that is the biggest joke in football. They
no,
can't
it is a joke. No, I agree with
yellow or a red, right? Let's implement a blue one.
I agree with you. It is a joke, but these referees, they're not making life for themselves any easier, Asim.
Well, my question to you, Avi, is do you think the pre-match quotes from Pochettino kind of worked, where he put a bit of pressure on the ref?
No, I can tell you
decisions, at the 4-1 at Anfield.
I can tell you wholeheartedly, these referees, especially in World Cup finals, FA Cup finals, Champions League finals, League Cup finals, they are told that, listen, there must be you have to give a little bit of a leeway because of the game, because of the magnitude of the game, right? So that means that a bad challenge like yesterday, it's not a red. In another league game this week, we saw Maguire on Saturday. Should have been sent off. He ends up scoring the equalizer. How much Fulham have felt if that was a 1-1 because he should have been sent off. The tackle was a bad one. It was on his foot. It was on his actually boot. It's not a red for me, but it's a dirty yellow. It is a dirty yellow. But look, what he does, he runs into people. He goes full pelt at people. Look at the one that he clipped Endo on. That should have been a yellow. But the referee, that was right in front of the referee's eyes in the extra half.
And he got away with everything. And this is the thing that pissed me off yesterday about the referee. Was, I know we can obviously speak about the game, but now we're on to the referee. I think this might as well discuss Kavanagh. He was a joke yesterday. He was really bad. Them two challenges, number 2. He gave Bradley a yellow card for flipping getting pushed from Chilwell, who's the biggest bottler going. He literally is the biggest bottler going. He's the guy that refused to take throw-ins when he was getting a load of shit from the Millwall fans once, we're talking about that player. The biggest shitter going. And I have to get out the biggest joke of a footballer. I don't know how he's number 1. He's playing for flipping Chelsea left back. You know what? He's a bottler. That's all he is. For him to start on the kids and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't even about him trying to. Neville, people were mentioning
it was a trigger, isn't it? He was trying to trigger.
It was not trigger. He's just a piece of shit. That's all he is. That's literally what he is.
Steady, Gene. Klopp was a massive fan, right? When he was at Leicester, he was a massive fan.
I am so glad he's not a Liverpool football club, because I would honestly so glad we didn't get him. £60 million they paid for him. Good luck to you, Chelsea. But Kavanagh yesterday, that was he gave Bradley a yellow card, but nothing to Chilwell. Them two challenges he didn't give.
No, he gave Chilwell. No, he gave Chilwell a yellow as well. He gave him. He
Yeah,
gave.
he
He
did.
gave Chilwell the first yellow. Then he came back to Bradley.
You know, I think what I thought it was, Gene. What I thought with his confrontation with Chilwell, Bradley was that he got absolutely schooled by him at Anfield, and he came into this game trying to not get schooled again. And he thought, you know what, I'll try to ruffle his feathers a bit with the youngster, try to get him on his sort of, you know, to try to get him to bite, maybe make a silly challenge because he's, you know, slightly inexperienced. But Liverpool were prepared for it. And Bradley has seen these type of players, even though he's got a lack of experience at the high stage, because Liverpool have just a better team. And if the captain for the opposing side is doing these dirty, shitty tricks, then it tells me a lot about you as a person and you as a club and you as a team, because I'm 100% with Gene. And what happened, we saw our captain, and we'll come to Verge, is getting winners, and twice. He's so good, he had to do it twice. And for me, it was 2-0. I don't give a shit what people say. But Chilwell got hooked off. And that's your captain, and that's our captain. And there's levels to this.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%.
And as you come back to the Bradley, we saw it with Darwin Núñez against Crystal Palace when he got sent off. You know, that was naivety, his age and whatnot, and he got ruffled up, you know, in his first season. It comes back to the schooling that these kids have from academy level. They're told they can't have flashy cars. You know, they can't live in rich houses straight away. It's got to be apartment living. And, you know, you're going to continue with your education as well as having a football career. It's the way they've been taught. And in that is your mindset, your mentality, your application, your attitude. These kids, easy yesterday, even second half, the bloody, again, Chilwell on Bobby Clark, you know, tried it on with him. But Clark didn't budge. He didn't play up to his games. He goes, listen, we're better than that. He's telling Chilwell, I'm 18 years old. You're on the wrong side of 25, 26, whatever. He goes, we're brought up a different way. It's a whole different ball game when you're a Liverpool player coming from the academy level. So it's the way they've been brought up. And like the captaincy, one led by an example, the other didn't.
100%. Leading by example, Gene. And the comments want us to come to him because he is him. Virgil van Dijk, our leader, our superhero, our Superman. What a player. And I think we've been talking about these kids, but they all need a father figure. The father figure, the granddad is on the bench and the dad is on the pitch. Van Dijk, he's the protector. He's their protector, Gene, on the pitch. And what a player. And this is, everyone's talking about our injuries, but the good thing that is we still got a foundation there. Endo sitting in front of Ibu and Van Dijk. And Van Dijk is the leader, of course. He can do what he wants on the pitch. And I thought, what a video, a little clip of him at the end of the game in the changing rooms, sort of celebrating it with his mates. And he said, you know what? They thought I was finished. And that was perfectly worded. He's not that type of guy, Gene. He's calm. He's calm as you like, as the chant goes. But you know what? That was an unbelievable performance. To do that, and I think Avi was saying it yesterday, that I'm sorry, Henderson wouldn't be able to do this. And I agree with him that this was Virgil van Dijk. And I think, was it you that mentioned this was his Gerrard FA Cup final when the team really, really needed you? He didn't only come and arrive once, he arrived twice. And only Van Dijk can do that.
When have you ever seen a centre-back do what he did yesterday, Asim, to be able to get 2 goals in a final? Yes, one was chalked off, but in the way he did it against a team that, you know what, we were not the best side on paper. They were supposedly the side that was supposed to come and beat us. But what a colossal performance. You know, you mentioned it. He is the leader. He is the general. He's the one that he's in the front line, ready to go to war. And he had his kids, he had his boys with him, but boy, did he turn up yesterday. It was an elite performance. He's been elite all season. And you know, the thing with Van Dijk was, you know, before the game, he mentioned it. He goes, we're gonna do it for the manager. This just tells you the closeness that Van Dijk and the manager, how close they actually are. Because he put it out there, we're going to go and do this for the manager. And boy, did they just turn up and play for the manager and give a performance like that in them type of surroundings. He was simply irresistible yesterday, Asim. And, you know, I love the guy, and I love the fact that he's our captain. And yes, I know the people at the time, us three, we had a chat about who should be the captain, and I went with Allison at the time. But boy, you know what?
Gene, this is why we tell you.
I'm always the first. I come up with it myself. Remember?
Because you know we're going to remind you.
Yeah, that's fair. Right, but honestly,
the centre back sees all the game.
Yeah, fair. Look, that's fair. But honestly, what a performance, man! And it just had to be him to get a goal. For him, he's arguably, one of the greatest centre backs ever played the game. That is how good he is. For me, he's the best
I
centre
I
that I've
don't think
seen in
there's
my lifetime.
I don't think there's an ounce of doubt anymore.
Hmm?
I don't think there's an ounce of doubt anymore. Virgil van Dijk is the greatest centre back that I've seen in my lifetime.
Look,
And we're similar ages and we've seen greats, right? But if you're talking about aura, if you're talking about centre backs who've got everything in their locker, who can rough it up with the best of them, who can play it classy, who can play it on the deck, who can ping one, who can score headers, who can win important games, who can carry a team single-handedly as a centre back. It's unheard of. It's unheard of the impact that he's had in he's been there 5 years? 5 years. 6 years.
6.
He joins us in 2018. He gets us to the Champions League final, not single-handed, of course, the poor performances, but the defensive displays on that run, superb. The next season, the Champions League final, I've never seen a single-handedly a performance like he produced against Spurs away or at Barcelona at Anfield. To keep a clean sheet against Coutinho, Messi, Suarez, but they had chances, but he's everything that you want in a centre back. If he looks after his body, Asim, which is the scary thing, he plays till about 36, 37 at the highest level. We're not talking about going to Saudi or going to China for a fair few bob. We're talking about representing this football club till 36, 37. He's got that with it. He's got that in him.
And what did you make of Van Dijk? I want your thoughts. Give us your actual.
What? We were just waxing lyrical even during the game. I think Jake was next to me, and I said, Jake, this guy, just look at his game. He plays passes with his head. Like, you talk with opposing fans, Arsenal fans, they talk about Tony Adams, Sol Campbell, John Terry with Chelsea fans, Rio, Vidic. These guys think, and these guys are your peers, when they talk about these defenders, they actually tell you, oh, did you see Vidic? Of course I fucking saw Vidic. And I saw Rio Ferdinand. I saw these guys, but they all had a weakness to me. But this lad, he doesn't have a weakness. And we touched, excuse me, I'm a bit breaking down talking about Van Dijk. And talking about emotion, he was emotional yesterday. He was emotional, and I think he was overwhelmed at the sort of when he got the goal. You could tell even his hair for once was out of place, and he thought, "What are you doing?"
Little thread. I think as I'm coming to that, I think because I still to this day he's Jurgen's number one trustee. Jurgen went over and beyond to get this kid at Southampton in that summer of 2017. He couldn't get him, but he told him to wait. He could have gone to Chelsea or Man City. So for the player to wait for the manager, Gene, who could have earned 300,000 back then a week with City or Chelsea, he waited and waited till we came back in again and signed on the December 27th, I think. Obviously got that debut goal against Everton in the FA Cup tie. He didn't want to let the boss down yesterday. For whatever goes on now between the last sort of stretch of the season, he's going to be putting in 9, 10 out of 10 performances. He was no way going to let Jurgen, down. And listen, he chose him to be his captain. And boy, has he come back answering on all cylinders. He's absolutely brilliant. And Asim, you okay? You had a moment to yourself? Or?
Yeah. Just been struggling with a bit of a sneeze and a sniffle. But yeah, look, 100% echo your sentiments whilst I was blowing my nose. I was still listening. Yeah, man. Avi, Van Dijk, what can you say that you haven't already said? What is there left to say about our leader? And there's more to come because he knows, you know what? The backroom staff are leaving, the manager is leaving, but there's so many memories to create, so many chances, so many opportunities, and we're in a position to do it. And hopefully we get a few back in the next couple of weeks. We go again, we regroup at the international break, and we see where we are. And it's going to be a mad one. It's going to be a mad one. And who better to lead us than Virgil van Dijk?
And just coming on the first goal, Asim, I'll come back to you. That first goal, does that stand for you?
Avi, look, I'm not going to lie. I've not seen the game back. I should have seen it. But the officials' reason was at the ground. They said checking possible offside. So we thought they've called it offside. I've seen a little clip of it. If Endo is blocking him, what was the official decision?
The block. It was the block. Because he was originally in a standing offside position, but he goes back onside and then he
So,
blocks Colwell.
but you're penalizing him not for the block. You're penalizing him because the moment he tries to block him, he's active, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's active, so technically he's offside. Yes.
Not. He's offside, but how many decisions? Listen, if you're calling that offside, then you've got to call them all. Then again, it comes back to the fouls. He was in a standing offside position,
Yeah.
but Colwell was never going to
came
get to
into
that
play.
ball. He was he came back into play, but he's never going to get to that ball.
It was a ridiculous decision, Asim. I've watched it again,
Mm.
and it was a joke of a decision, man.
Curtis Jackson.
We see that at least once a week. This is standard procedure in the league, man. It's happened so many times. There was Colwell was nowhere near it. He was never going to make it. And, you know, he wasn't even near the man. He was next to Endo. So I don't understand why that was given offside or for the block. I say if you watch it again, you'll be fuming. I'm fuming about it, even though we won it. I'm peed off because it was a perfect goal, like, again, that's gone against us. So you're gonna get, and it felt like that. Like, what the hell are you playing at the time? Yes, at the game, you think, it might have been offside, fair play. When you say it again, he was nowhere near the ball, man. Van Dijk. I don't know who the defender that he was up against or who the player that he was up against. He wasn't gonna make the ball.
He's up against Chilwell.
Yeah, Chilwell. He's not gonna make the ball. How can you give that offside if Colwell was nowhere near it?
If Man United fans are saying it's a joke of a decision, then it must be a joke of a decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cents in the house, Arsenal do it week in, week out. They do. They're the masters at this. It's gamesmanship. It literally is gamesmanship, and they get away with it, and no one bats an eyelid. When that goal was conceded by Chelsea yesterday, Colwell had no complaints. No one raised their hands saying, "Oh, look what Endo just done to me, ref." No one really Kavanaugh. So when that happens, what are you checking for then? You can't just say, "Oh, he blocked us," and he stopped Colwell getting into the position because there was a chance that he would get to the ball. He wasn't going to get to that ball. So you know what I mean? Referees, Kavanaugh yesterday, and it was a beautiful thing to see. We saw so many beautiful things happen yesterday, but one of the most beautiful things yesterday was he didn't shake Kavanagh's hand. Even in the final. Yeah, people say that's so bitter. No, you know what? He didn't deserve his handshake yesterday. It was good that he swayed away and only shook hands with the linesman.
Once the Premier League give absolutely open accountability with the refs, if they bring accountability for the refs, I think you'll get better decisions. That's the problem. These guys are protected too much. And I don't get this, or they're not allowed to be interviewed, this and that. They write a little match report and off it goes to, the PGMOL. And that's all we hear. These guys are protected so much. And I understand the respect levels and this and that. It's fine. It should be coming from the crowd as well. But these guys are in charge of the biggest league, the biggest sort of product in the world, the Premier League. It's watched by billions. And the problem is these guys, they just don't provide us with any reason. And I know you've seen Howard Webb coming and sort of protecting them all. And the problem with I have in TV, they have these referees in sort of the analysis team. They only provide a sort of an analysis on in the perspective of the referee, but they're all just backing their mates.
They haven't played the game, Asim. They haven't played the game.
That is true. That is true, Avi. But you go elsewhere, you find, I think we just protect these guys too much, and it becomes incompetence. That's all it is. Incompetence and a lack of consistency. And when you combine them two, it's a recipe for disaster. And like I said, these refs, like who's the Mike Dean is in with Sky Sports, isn't he?
Yes,
they protect their mates, and they don't want their mates to be called out and sort of for me to call them a bad decision. You're there to make an analysis as a neutral, not as a referee to back your mate. You tell me how it is, how you'd call it. Give me the right decision, and not just because he's your mate and you're going to back him up and you don't want to be seen as him, fucking things up. But it is what it is.
And they've openly admitted it as well. Mike Dean, I know he's a fellow Scouser, a Tranmere fan, and he was saying yesterday, they've openly admitted protecting their own. Because they didn't want them to get in trouble. Anthony Taylor was attacked in the Europa League final last year.
Oh yes.
For Roma, remember that, right? I'm not here to incite any violence. I never would. I'm not a violent person. But I'm telling you now, it's a matter of time Where these referees, no, these referees, one of them's going to get it. Unfortunately, one of them's going to get it in this country. I'm talking about in England. One of them's going to get it. One of them's going to get a thump to the head. And honestly, it's true.
If you were on the pitch, I'd be scared for him, honestly, if you were on the pitch.
I don't know, but it's true though. Like you can't be making bad decisions in finals. The Caicedo one that goes, and that Klopp was equally angry because of the referees. He was like, listen, how can I shake someone's hand who's missed the Gravenberch? He's come off. He's probably going to be out for a good part of 6 weeks. You've missed a perfectly clear goal. They're looking for reasons, and not just for Liverpool, for other clubs as well. They're looking for reasons to disallow a goal. They're actually looking for something that isn't there. But in their head, they've made something up and say, no, you know what? Yeah, there's a tad offside there, or he's played him on, or he's trying to block him there. Call it off.
No, but and why the goal, the VAR goal pissed me off more than anything is normally, the VAR guys will say offside. They actually told him to go and have a look.
Yeah.
Didn't they? I'm sure they have a look. So he went to have a look himself and still made that decision. That's what pissed me off. Yeah. Okay, if they gave it the VAR gave,
I don't believe this.
What have you been looking at?
How many refs have gone across the screen and gone against what they've been told?
Never.
Once, twice. Yeah, once or twice in the last 2 years, 2.5 years.
There you go. They've been told in their headphones that we think is this. We've decided basically is this. Go have a look and confirm it, and then that's it. He comes back and overrules the original decision.
Hooper,
I still get that.
Simon Hooper at Spurs Stadium, there was that clip, wasn't there, for a good 5 to 10 seconds, where he got it in his ear that, listen, we've made a mistake here. We've made a mistake. He couldn't go against him and say, listen, let's restart the game then. 1-0. But if he had stood up, the world would have noticed. The whole of England would have noticed and said, you know what? He actually went against VAR. He actually went against the boys at Stockley Park and said, if you're telling me it's a legitimate goal, I'm holding play and Spurs can kick off at 1-0. We would have gone 1-0 up with 10 men. This was after Curtis Jones's sending off. But they haven't got it in them because they think they're going to get their jobs lost. But I think in that instance, he would have got so much more credit. It would have been like something revolutionary, like what he did. He restarted the game at 1-0 and he said, okay, VR have told me something, but they've said, oh, now fuck, we've messed up here. We can't go back, carry on play. That's what they did. But if he had heard that, okay, you're telling me that they messed up, but okay, I'm just going to go by what you guys, if he had gone against the grain, he would have got so much more plaudits for that.
Avi, you got the headphones in. Is that check complete? Let's go to a man who made a lot of good decisions. Kelleher. This is his cup. A few brilliant saves. If you close your eyes, you probably thought, you know what, that was Alisson making a save, and then the fans. We need a Alisson type of chant for Kelleher. Kelleher. That type of stuff. But I was really happy for him. And yes, when your main man, the best keeper ever, is injured, then you need someone to step up. And that's all he's doing, Chin. Stepping up.
Yeah, there was a couple of games asked him at the start when now he's had a run of games. The first couple of games, there were a couple of mistakes, and look, Liverpool fans, because the margins are so tight, especially going for a league or going for a trophy, that mistakes are costly generally, and we know how hard it is to win a title. One little mistake and it's gone. So there were times where we did actually call him out. Oh, he should have done better. He's near post. I think there was a goal that he conceded, but yesterday, he was. The last few games, I thought he's been brilliant. And yesterday, to pull off that Palmer save was unbelievable, number one. And number two, that Gallagher one, they're the two that really, really stand out for me. But that Palmer one was just on a different scale. We needed him.
Better than Dudek Shevchenko?
Eh?
Better than Dudek against Shevchenko?
Shevchenko. That's God-given. That goal is God-given to us. That save is God-given to us. So that's on a different. That's probably the greatest save ever to me. But Kelleher, Asim, you got to just give him his flowers. And every time, generally speaking, he's played for us. He's won us trophies, man, playing for us in these. And it's not like that we played easy ties, difficult ties. He's come in. But since Ali's been injured, and he's done really, really well. And Klopp mentioned it, he's the best second goalkeeper in the world. best number 2 goalkeeper in the world. And hats off to him, because he's been phenomenal. And there's going to be a few more games that he's going to have to play. He's going to play that big one at Anfield as well. And boy, we will need him against Man City. But again, confidence, and that's what he's playing with, going into that big game with confidence. Because look, there were Arsenal and the City game. Look, Alisson made in the 2 big games. Alisson made 2 mistakes. Yes, he's the best goalkeeper in the world, but he did make mistakes, and it'll be huge for Kelleher. If Kelleher can have a brilliant game against City, Asim, it's brilliant for us, because then we've got 2 goalkeepers going for number 1 spot, even though one is like miles ahead type of thing. But it just goes to show, we rejected 15 million pounds for him in the summer from, is it Forest? Yeah, Forest bidded 15 million pounds for him. That just goes to show this. We know the actual worth of this goalkeeper. He's actually worth a lot more.
How much is he worth, Chin, for you?
Look, Asim, now would I have sold him for 20 million in the summer? I would be lying to say no. If we got 20 million quid for him in the summer, I think we might have let him go. But he's worth around, for me, he's worth 20 million. For a second goalkeeper, that's a lot of money.
Mobby said he's worth 50-60 million last night.
Oh, that's too much, Asim, man.
Do you agree?
That's not.
If I get 50-60 million for Kelleher, I'll be doing cartwheels to the bank.
50 million. Wow.
One too many whiskeys in Moby's house.
He was buzzing of the win, man. Let him say what he wants. Let Moby say what he wants, man.
What was that John Henry quote? What are they smoking over there? One of those ones. In Canada, the air is different in Canada as well. So, now look, Kelleher, look, I always will come to this when like Robertson gets replaced by Tsimikas, we jump on it straight away. One bad performance from Tsimikas. We saw Tsimikas this season, rhythm, game time, minutes. He was playing well up until that shoulder injury against Arsenal. Kelleher is the same. First game, second game, he looked a bit shaky, but what a monstrous performance yesterday. He looks as if he's filled out a little bit as well from 2 years ago, and he doesn't get enough games. Goalkeepers rely on games. They need games. They need to be playing 40 games a season, in all competitions. This guy gets 10 games a season if he's lucky. He gets the cup games up until a final in the FA Cup. But I know Klopp will always go with him when it comes to the League Cup. Doesn't really get much league games unless Alisson's out for like 2-3 games. Champions League games non-existent, But he's had a fair few games in the Europa League this season. It's so imperative for goalkeepers to play week in, week out, midweek, weekend, because it's one of the most important positions. And he's great with his feet as well, Asim. He's cruelly underrated with his footwork. Great save, the Palmer one, the one on Sterling, second half, Gallagher. He was brilliant, and he gets off his line so quick, probably as quick as Alisson. Yes, Alisson's a better keeper. We know that Alisson's world class, but Kelleher, very hard to find as good as he is. Number 2's out. We were Ramsdale and Raya. I think he's better than both of them. Yeah, Mr. Battered Red. Honestly, Ramsdale and Raya, the 30 million range, they can be that. Kelleher, I think he's brilliant.
Asim, I must. When you actually talk about numbers, and then you see Ramsdale and Raya. I don't know what Ramsdale was bought for. Raya went for 35 million.
Ramsdale, I think it was about 24 million from.
Well, if they're going for 20, that's a couple of years ago, right? For 24 million, and Raya went for 35. Look, he's worth at least 30, then, isn't it?
You think he's better than
Raya? Being paid for goalkeepers nowadays.
You think he's better than Raya?
Goalkeeper at Liverpool, huh?
You think he's better than Raya?
If you give him the same level of consistency games of Raya, he's just as good as him. I don't think Raya's that. You think Raya's that good?
I think he's better than Kelleher.
I think maybe because the more game time you've been exposed.
Look, I've not seen a lot of.
He's not like miles better than Raya. There's no keeper actually out there apart from ours. Nick Pope's a great keeper. I like him. There's no keeper out there. Nick Pope's.
I think Nick Pope's distribution is quite poor.
No, a shot stopper though. He's a great shot stopper.
Yeah, it's about 7.
But you need to have everything now, Avi. You've got to have everything in modern day.
Like Pickford. Pickford's not a good shot stopper, but his distribution's great.
Yeah.
It depends what manager wants, isn't it? These days? I mean, look at Onana. We were told that he was one of the best distributors. He was like a Jabi Alonso-like distribution. Anything but. Can't even save Onana, man. Onana is absolutely terrible.
I'm going to clip that and put it out tomorrow. That was wicked.
Okay, let's move on because there's
we need to throw some shade, not shade, but we need to give some praise to a few players. Asim, I'll take over if you don't mind. Harvey Elliot. Harvey Elliot. Asim, I'll come
wow.
to you. It's a player that I was unsure of. And I've been saying it vocally as well on Twitter. I don't hide. I'll never hide.
You
I'm
can't.
going to, I can't hide. I'm too big to hide. But yesterday, he showed me another facet in his game. He just didn't give up. He was like the local lad that, listen, we're not going to lose this by hook or by crook. I'm going to do absolutely everything to make sure that we see this over the line. 20, 21 years old, gave us 130 minutes with the stop, including stoppage time and whatnot. He was absolutely magnificent. And Soccer God, if he's watching, he'll know that it's a bitter pill to swallow, me being this sort of vocal in a good way of Harvey Elliott. But listen, recent weeks, in the last couple of months, he's made me eat humble pie. And let me tell you, that humble pie does not taste great, but he's making me eat it every week. But Asim, Harvey Elliott yesterday to start off with.
Avi, look, I'm gonna admit it as well that I've been saying the similar sentiments to you about Harvey Elliott, where I think I made a mistake where I just sometimes forget that he's 20 years old. I think that's one thing. He's played 100 games for Liverpool at the age of 20. We should be talking about Harvey Elliott in the same sort of with the same breath, as McConnell and Kwanzaa and these guys. There's not much difference between the ages. So look, it should show you that the maturity, the level of maturity, and the ability that he has. I am gonna say, look, my only concern, and we mentioned it many times, and there's no point discussing it in greater length. Then his sort of my concern with him is he doesn't have the pace to go on the outside. We've all said that, but as a footballer, and I mentioned it on the way down to our little chicken place. When we win a cup, we go find a little chicken place, and it's become a customary for every cup final at the Wembley. We go to the same chicken place, and we're not going to go anywhere different because when we go there, we win, and that's all that matters. So, whilst we were having a nice little chicken fillet burger yesterday, Avi, I go to Chin that whenever there's combinations, whenever there's someone on the outside, Harvey Elliott is in his element. He is in the game because when there's triangles, that's where Harvey Elliott really, really, comes into his own. And that's what it is. When he's got options, he's a proper footballer. And can he become an Odegaard? Can he become a Bernardo Silva? These guys are really, really good players, great players when you sort of mention Bernardo Silva in isolation. But that is his sort of his target and an objective. But one thing he does have on his side is time, because he's only 20. And you know what? We've been talking about a manager that's coming in, Xabi Alonso, and maybe his style of play about short passes, combinations, getting to the goal in sort of smaller steps. That suits Harvey Elliott to a T, because you don't need to go over the top. You don't need to go in behind. It's all about creating those sort of triangles. And just what we saw, even like someone like Jadon Sancho at Dortmund, where he was coming from the right, he was coming from the left and driving into the box. How many times did you see him do it at United? And we touched on it. Players like Caicedo, it's all about being coached, being developed into what you want as a manager. And if Xabi Alonso comes in, and we all hope so he does, then this guy can excel and become a really good player. Will he grow physically? I hope so. He does. We've talked about all our players, about putting a bit of muscle on, put a bit of strength on. I don't want to sort of describe him like a, Shaqiri type of, stature, but he has got, stronger. And he fell to the ground on midweek with Luton. He literally fell down again. He was getting a massage. I paid 35 quid for a massage. He got a free one at half time. And I want to say something. So you know what? We all got a happy ending in the end.
Your words, not mine. My hands are clean out here. But Gina, I want to come to you. A player that you've been frustrated with. You got very frustrated with on Wednesday. I don't want to repeat what you said on text message because I don't want to out you out like that. But Lucho Diaz, El Colombiana. His Papa Diaz yesterday. Papa Diaz was on the train yesterday with them, having beers and all sorts of
Diaz father is living the life, man. But honestly, he's really living the life. But in terms of Diaz, Avi, man, yesterday, there's moments in players that you want to see more, and we saw Diaz do everything, right? There was a moment where Avi, as soon as he went past two players, I was like, Avi's gonna go.
He's
for
gonna
me.
text me. He's gonna text
I was
me.
waiting. I thought,
Send a voice note.
yeah, because Avi's gonna come for me saying, right, did you see that when he walked past two Chelsea players and set up Gakpo for the shot? But look, he's been brilliant. To be fair, he was brilliant yesterday, and and I think Avi, I was talking to you, on the way back, and you mentioned it that I think towards the end of the 90,
87th minute. 87th minute. Klopp's blasting him because Gusto's gone past him now. Gusto's found a little sort of second when he's run down him. And Diaz, right? Klopp's looked at him. Klopp looked at him and goes, listen, you need to go track back. And he goes,
is that what
and Klopp was like, okay. And he was like this. He was like,
Diaz
was like, I've got nothing left.
Wow.
So for him to go on another 30 minutes in extra time where he played centrally then who played on the left? Someone came out to the left. Who came out to the left?
Dan's played.
Dan went off to the left because he was the runner. He had no legs in him. But yesterday, Gene, he did everything but he should have got a couple of assists yesterday, Diaz. Should have got a couple of assists, but he kept on. And he loves a game against Chelsea. He always fancies Chelsea. And we were worried about Gusto. Midweek when we were talking about, he's going to match Diaz, but they had no answer for him, Asim, yesterday. Diaz, relentless, running until there was nothing left. Thank God he didn't go to penalties because I don't think
honestly, during the extra time, even on the left-hand side, right-hand side, like we could see the pass that Chelsea, you thought they're in, and they did get in a few times on the counter-attack generally. But you saw the pass, but because Chelsea are so shit, then that pass never came. Because you could see Liverpool, like the likes of Harvey Elliott, absolutely battered. We haven't mentioned tonight how big that pitch is, Avi, and how much grass that all the players have to cover. Especially one thing that Chelsea did do, that they did have Gusto earlier on, and even Chilwell on the halfway line. Generally speaking, they did play, the fullbacks in the right positions. And when that happens, the sort of players like Harvey Elliott and Diaz have to make sure they're putting a shift in. And honestly, you saw those players that really struggling. I once saw even Diaz touching his leg, smacking his leg because he was suffering from cramp, just similar to what we saw Harvey Elliott do on the Wednesday night. But one thing that these both guys did yesterday, that they took the responsibility. They knew with the likes of Jota, the likes of Salah, and the likes of Nunes, not playing. They thought, what, we have to make sure we are the outball. And what Luis Diaz yesterday was that he knew that he had to do things sometimes by himself, because with these boys, his mates and his brothers are not playing with him, that, I have to do it for the team. And sometimes he couldn't make up the ground because there was such a overlap going on. But boy, did he put a shift in. And there was lots of quality yesterday. And I've been, critical of him, but he was busting a gut yesterday. And whether he was going in the inside, outside, there was many moments that we could have got a goal. He squared it. He took a player on. And look, I'm not here to criticize anyone today, because that's not our intention today. I don't even give a shit about being critical or sort of providing constructive criticism. We've just won a trophy. We're here to enjoy it. And that's all that tonight is.
And Gene, just coming back, we look forward now to Southampton midweek. How many changes realistically are we looking at? Are we looking at he's going to rest Diaz, he's going to rest maybe Van Dijk, he'll probably give Robbo the night off. Any chance of Szoboszlai, Nunes, Salah, maybe 5-10 minutes here and there?
Bloody Szoboszlai and Nunes running off, doing their bloody hurdles, mate. They look like I'll be honest with you, man. I was shocked.
He's a mad dog. That Nunes is a mad dog. He could God knows be more aggravated even more.
You know what? He's just a mad bee, man. That's all he is. But you know what? We wouldn't change that for nothing. The way, he just pull Salah out of the way, bloody just pull.
Curtis Jones was in the brace. Curtis Jones and he moved him out of the way.
Yeah, he's just a nutcase. He just didn't care, man. And I was so happy because that just tells you that's Darwin Núñez at his peak. He just doesn't care what it is, where he is. He's there. If he wants to do something, he's allowed to do it because that's just the way he is. But coming back to who's gonna start, I don't know. I mean, a bunch of kids by the looks of it. But Asim, they need a rest. These players put in a big shift, like the likes of Diaz and McAllister, Endo. You're gonna have to rest them because we've got a huge game on the weekend away to Forest. So there's all in the players like McConnell. There's reports that Nioni will start on the
Wow.
week on Wednesday as well. He'll hopefully be his debut. Adrian, Yusuf mentions Adrian Defo starting. I won't be surprised to see all these lots start. I wouldn't be surprised. I think maybe Kelleher's going to want to play. With
I think
another
Shimikas will play as well.
yeah, Simicas will
Similar
play.
as well, yeah, I
They
think
all
Gomez probably
will
gets some.
play. Yeah, maybe obviously Quansah, Gomez.
Yeah.
So they'll
No, I'm good into-
be mainly the
On the
youngsters.
show now.
But you can put it on yourself on mute, Avi.
Oh, sorry. I just love this. I want to show.
I was getting told off, mate. Right?
You're getting told off, are we?
No, she asked me if I wanted some jar. I said, yeah.
Oh, whatever, mate.
Ah.
Tell you to hurry up, mate. You tell you to hurry up.
You funny guy.
I asked him in terms of the big boys. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them got a couple of minutes. Just
Who's the big boys?
They're talking like likes of Dominic Soboslai maybe because he mentioned it that he wanted to play just to get him into rhythm, a little bit of rhythm before the game on against Forest.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't see any else.
Yeah, look, if you go in by their celebration, then they get 90 minutes on Wednesday night. But I won't be surprised.
There's not a lot that we can do, though.
I know. The thing is, we're in a situation where
you
the
can't
need to rest as well.
You can't play Gakpo and Diaz.
I think you can get away with playing Gakpo. If Nunes and Salah are back on the weekend, you can play Gakpo as the lone man. Do you play Harvey Elliot after 130? You don't play Diaz. You don't play Diaz or Elliot on Wednesday.
Diaz,
I don't think you
No,
do.
no chance. Diaz and Elliot just put in two.
I think McConnell will play. I think Bobby Clark will play. There's two in the midfield.
And Clark can go on the left as well, of the front three.
And I think, Ioni can play there as well, can't he?
And I think it's going to be them three in midfield, maybe. But you know what? I think then I'm thinking, maybe Soboslai will maybe start one of the forwards has to start. Otherwise, we got no forwards on the pitch.
Yeah, Danz will play, won't he?
Yeah,
he deserves it. And you know what? Just to coming on Jayden Dan's, Tony Bellew is a massive Everton fan. With the boxer, great career and whatnot. Massive Everton fan, giving it loads to us in the past years. Loads, even said something towards Kane Dalglish and that back in the day as well. All tongue in cheek, whatever. But big him up because give him a bit of praise because his dad, Neil Dans, Jayden Dan's dad, were really good friends with Tony Bellew. Best friends, I think, and he was one of the people that wet his head and whatnot at his christening. So he put it out there yesterday. He said, and he didn't care if Everton fans came in for him. He goes, go and win it now, son, for the club, because he came when he said, go and win it. So that was really nice. Cade Gordon, shouts for Cade Gordon coming in tomorrow, possibly. We could see, I'm going to chuck a name out there, Asim, if you don't mind. Kyle Kelly, very highly rated from the academy, tall central midfielder, bit of a monster, got a good physique on him. I think he could be I think he might at a stretch make the bench.
Wow.
Could always recall Fabio Cavalli and Tyler Morton as a hand dicker.
We need him. We need him right now.
You see the goal that he scored, Ballon d'Or winner, yeah?
Listen, I'm closing my mouth for now because a lot of people saying he's not got a future. I think he's going to push his way through. I know Asim, me and you, and we can talk this over the summer of possibly loan outs again or selling and this. We'll do our buy sell loan show.
The only thing I would say about Cavallo is, and I'm judging it by the current formation. I know there's reports about what Xabi Alonso will play, and let's see when if he comes in or when he comes in and what he plays. But if he was a right-sided midfielder, I'd say he's got a chance. Liverpool's squad and Liverpool's team is left-sided dominant. Gravenberch, McAllister, Curtis Jones, all three players are ahead of him. How does he get a chance if we don't play like a 4-2-3-1 type of formation? I can't see it, unfortunately. And that's why I think Liverpool will probably get him back. Whether he becomes an impact type of player, does he want to stick around for that type where he just plays the cups and makes an impact off the bench here and there? I think he wants to play. And I don't know, maybe let him play well and we get 20-30 million for him. I don't know.
Last question, and then whether you lot want to carry on, I'm happy to carry on. Gene, is this the last trophy of the season, or is there one more, a few more to come?
We're doing a mad one, mate. We're going for the lot. We're going for the lot, man. There's no doubt that we will go for every single trophy this summer. That's just the way it is. We were unlucky last time that we missed out. I just get there's something in the air about this season. I know, people will say, yeah, oh yeah, it's Klopp leaving. You guys are all emotional and all that type of stuff. But any other year you probably don't win that final. We won that final for a reason, because I just get this feeling that something is brewing. We're getting our players back in the next few weeks. If we can get that win against Forest, that City game, we'll have the likes of Salah, Nunes, Dominic Szoboszlai, three huge players for us back. It will be an unbelievable occasion and an unbelievable game against City. Why can't we go and win all four, man? If we had all our players fit and ready, we're good enough to go and win all four, because we've got that good of a squad for once that we can go out and blow teams away. And it's just, there's something there that's telling me that, you know what, strap yourselves in, mate, because this is going to be a mad one.
Asim, there's reports today that Joyce has come out and said, regardless of whether this is the only cup that we win, I don't think it will. I think we'll collect 2 more, 3 more, 4 more, God knows. That there will be a bus parade regardless for Jurgen Klopp. He deserves one, doesn't he? He deserves the freedom of Liverpool itself. I think a few Everton fans will probably agree as well. But that's a beautiful, touching tribute that, everyone that can possibly fly over and whatnot, I'll definitely be there. But give him like a one last sort of farewell on his own. We don't need the players on that night. Hey, just give Jurgen Klopp the freedom of the bus. Let him have the big hand and whatnot. Let Ulla join in as well, and just give him one hell of a send off, because he deserves one, doesn't he?
100%. But Avi, with all due respect, I'm not talking about Klopp's farewell today. So what I want to talk about is winning 3 more trophies. That's on my head, and that's what's in Klopp's head as well. There will be a time and a place, maybe in May, to say goodbye and all our thoughts. One good sort of crying session. That's what the city will cry. There'll be floods at Liverpool that day. Doesn't matter if it's 25 degrees in Liverpool. There'll be floods in Liverpool.
Well, you already started today earlier on by the looks of it.
And the problem is this tissue is about 4 months old. So if I call in sick tomorrow at work, God knows what I've got. But Chin, Avi, yeah, let's talk trophies and then goodbyes in the summer.
Brilliant. And anything else to discuss, guys?
The crazy thing is, honestly, that win, it actually took a lot out of me, man. I'm actually I'll be honest with you, I'm a goner, man. I don't know what, it's crazy because it's only the Carabao Cup, but it was just everything.
It's the emotion. You get emotionally drained by it. You get emotionally drained by it.
It was special, man. It was
and
really.
The wives will never understand it. They will never understand. They'll just say it's just men.
I tweeted today that my little one of the reasons why I wanted to take him yesterday, Avi, was because in 20 years time, maybe inshallah in 20 years time, when he grows up, he will look back and he will have that memory that I was there for a Jurgen Klopp final.
Yeah.
And I think this is why I wanted to win the final more than anything, because I wanted him to have that memory, and I just didn't want him to lose. Because it's a completely different feeling. You guys know when I go to a game, what pagal type of fan I am. I see that it's completely different, but it's just an unbelievable feeling when you're lucky to take your son, and and I hope everybody that's in the chat, or you two, get a chance to do that one day. And it's honestly, I'm just a goner, man, and just enjoy it, man. Because this is another thing in the group, Asim, I said, to forget about, I said this about this player, you said this about this player. Forget it all. This moment, cherish it, because these things don't happen. We've been lucky that we've had this Klopp era, because before that, we all know what hurt in terms of Liverpool fans, how long it took us to get to where we are. So fair play to Liverpool, and just enjoy it, man, because the next 3 or 4 months is going to be special, because you can sense it. It's definitely going to be special.
Well said, Avi. I don't think we can say anything better than that. I think that's a good ending to the show. What do you think?
Yeah, Gino's a man of very few words, but he came up.
He can't do an intro. He can't do an intro, but he can definitely do an outro.
Yeah.
Listen. If it's emotion, I'm the first one there. This lovey-dovey stuff that you lot do is not for me, man. I just need emotion. I'm all built on emotion, man.
I think we've got a post-match on Wednesday, I believe. Are you two going to the game again?
Yeah.
Are you going? I probably won't go.
So
I need a rest. I need a rest.
Sarib can do the show.
Asim and Sarib probably on Wednesday, and then I'll be back on. We're back on Friday, Gene.
But look, just for the record, on Wednesday morning it could be completely different.
Yeah, that's true. It could be Sarib on his own again. Just like last week.
Let's not go
We'll
there.
be,
Let's
we'll
not
be
go
back.
there.
Yeah,
On,
can you please tell the viewers to like and subscribe? I don't think we have done all game. All
it's
show.
all right. You know what? Today it's all
Done
about the
you.
celebration yesterday. It's fine. People want to subscribe, they can subscribe. If they don't want to subscribe, don't subscribe. It's all
Bilal in the house,
you know,
providing.
Billy comes and goes. Here he is. Here's his starting
Here
lineup.
we
for
go.
next
Here
season.
we go.
Is this for next season, 2030, or is this for on Wednesday? Kelleher, Bradley, Gomez, Quanta, Simicast, McConnell, Clark, Sabosalai, or Naomi, Gordon, Kumas, and Dan. I don't think Gordon will get a start. Don't think the kids in the best of books will be arrogant, and the coaches. But anyway, I'll leave it there. I don't want to do any more ITK stuff. This has been Born and Red. Guys, do please like and subscribe. We're on our way to 10K. Once we get past the 7K, then it's all full systems go. But we shall see you on Wednesday.
Yep.
Take care, guys. Have a good night. And whoever hasn't bought a ticket for the train, the belief, buy your ticket, because this is going to be a bad one. A mad one and a bad one. Good night and take care. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.